Yes, I do think that it's possible that if we made the right decision here, and I implore you to do that, and I don't mean to now make anybody angry, and I'm not a member of the Free State Project, but if I lied on a government form, I wouldn't be able to fix it with a little side deal. I would be held accountable. I want that form withdrawn at the Department of Homeland Security. I don't want something else done. I don't want the Department of Homeland Security to have it in a file somewhere, because I don't feel safe that those people that have come here and that have lived here all their lives are seen as a terrorist threat. I am afraid of my federal government. And some of the recent revelations, I think, show that we have reason to be. This isn't all tinfoil hat. And I don't know if this council can be held legally to blame if you sign off on a fraudulent form. But if you can, and you do, I hope they sue you. I hope they sue this city for as much as they can get. I honestly do. And that will cost this city real money out of this city's pocket.
Thank you. You're welcome. You, sir, right in the front row.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks.
My name is Mike Laurie. I'm a resident of Enfield, Townsend Compact. I'm a third-generation Granite Stater. My mother graduated from Concord High School. I'm also a U.S. military veteran. I served in the U.S. Air Force. If you had told me 20 years ago when I was serving my country and defending it against the Soviet Union that someday we would have armed personnel carriers used to roam the streets of Concord, New Hampshire, I would have told you you're a raving lunatic. Because that sort of thing doesn't happen here in America, where people are free and we have a government that is a government of, by, and for the people. So the idea that we should have that just because it's free money, it's not free money, it's all of our money. And it's more than just all of our money, it's debt. You know, and debt is a form of slavery. The more this country goes into debt, the heavier the chains on all of us. And you need to think about that. It's not something you can just toss off and say, no, it's not my responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility. And as previous speakers have said, you know, the Marine Colonel talked about it being an army in place that's being built, standing army that's being used, that's being put together. And he's absolutely correct. You're just thinking about, well, what can one armored vehicle do, really? So the fact is that the Department of Homeland Security has already deployed over 2,700 of these armored vehicles across the country. And you wonder, you know, how much of a force that is. The U.S. and all of NATO, at the height of the Cold War, had less armored vehicles in Europe to face off against the Soviet Union than Homeland Security is deploying across our country against our own citizens. And you need to stand up as American citizens and put your foot down and say, that stops here.
Thank you very much. And you can start the brown shirt. And then sir in the blue shirt, you're next down. Good evening.
My name is William Kostrick, and I live in Manchester, New Hampshire. And I just wanted to speak briefly to the path, the method by which the Bearcat would be coming to Concord. The company that makes these, Lenco, their business model is unsustainable. It's corporate welfare, plain and simple. They build a product that would not survive in a free market, a product that nobody really wants or would purchase directly. So their model involves going to Washington, D.C. and convincing the feds to take money from all of these people and give it to the Department of Homeland Security, who then takes it and gives it to Lenco, and they call it a grant and pretend that they're doing us a favor. But again, they're just taking money out of our community and giving it to a company that builds a product that is unneeded and unwanted. And again, we know that because if it really was needed and wanted, then communities individually would be coming forward to purchase these, and they're not.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Sir?
Thank you for being willing to listen to us. My name is Carla Garrick, and I'm the president of the Free State Project. My original testimony is about 3 minutes long.
Well, we can put that as part of the record if you want.
Okay, yes, I will be handing in all the letters that I have shared with city manager and Chief Duvall. I'd like to introduce those as well. So I will just, it's 3 minutes, I timed it, that's what we were told. So I appreciate you giving me a little extra time. We, the people, are not the enemy. Free Staters are productive people moving to New Hampshire because of the shared values with our neighbors of small government and more personal responsibility. We are not terrorists. John Duvall testified here tonight, in my opinion, in a perjurous manner, because in his grant, he stated that Free Staters and occupiers and sovereign citizens are domestic terrorists, and that's the reason why he needs this tank. He did not mention, he said rescue vehicle several times. He did not mention that the grant application actually says that it is a TAC vehicle for CBRN, which is acronyms of military note that end with nuclear and explosion. It's not good. We do not, as he claimed, pose daily challenges to the city of Concord. We are here as residents of New Hampshire, and we are also here as taxpayers of this country. It's fine for him to sit here and to testify and to say, yeah, well, we wouldn't get it, we don't need it that badly if we're spending our own money. But if we're spending someone else's money, hey, it's all good, let's take the money. That's not right. You know, we're good people. In fact, I ran into Claudia Ryan. I volunteer for Concord Reads at the Concord Library here. So I am deeply offended that a grant application that has certain standards to it was used in a fraudulent and misleading manner. We are here today in great numbers, and there are 200 plus, maybe even 300 people here, to say that we are raising our voices to protest the manufactured, false, misleading, fraudulent, and secret claims made by the city manager and by John Duvall, the chief of police, in a federal grant application for a ballistic engineered armor response counterattack vehicle. As president of the Free State Project, I have publicly called for the retraction and amendment of the Department of Homeland Security grant. I also asked for a list of the daily challenges that we present. And lastly, I asked for a public letter of apology for the 14,600 Free State Project participants that were defamed in this application. None of these requests were met. In fact, people in this room didn't even respect me enough to write back to me. Chief Duvall, since then, has backpedaled in public, saying, oh yeah, you know what, they don't really present a domestic terrorist threat. I guess there's nothing like being caught out in a lie. I gave the city ample opportunity to do the right thing. They chose to do nothing, which means I will be filing a complaint, as several people have already done, with the Department of Homeland Security's Office of the Inspector General for fraud and political profiling. And I actually hereby call for the public resignation of the people involved with this. When ordinary people make misleading statements on government forms, there are severe consequences, including the possibility of imprisonment. State officials should be held to an even higher standard. Equally alarming to me is the fact that the chief of police of the state capital admitted on NHPR that he needs an attack vehicle to quell free speech at the State House. You don't have to agree with our pro-freedom, pro-choice, pro-personal responsibility and limited government ideas to see the irony of what's unfolding here today. The role of
I'm
government,
sorry.
I've got 2 more paragraphs.
It's been way over 3 minutes, it's been 4 minutes.
You can have my time.
I yield my time.
I yield my time.
Hi, Joe, excellent, I appreciate it, thank you, everybody. Just remember that when you're coming back up here.
You don't have to agree with our pro-freedom, pro-peace, pro-personal responsibility, and limited government ideas to see the irony of what's unfolding here today. The role of government, is to protect the people you allegedly serve, us. The government, want to bring an attack vehicle to a debate is not only a gross abuse of power, but it is unconstitutional and it is immoral. You have a binding duty to be open, accessible, accountable, and responsive to the people you serve. You have done none of these things. You have a choice right now. You, as an individual, can do the right thing for the greater community of New Hampshire and vote not to accept an attack vehicle into one of the safest and most peaceful communities in the country. I hope you will serve us well.
Thank you very much.